And now it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, rock cod Rick Maxa, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray and rock cod Rick Maxa.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. Boy, do we have a great show for you today. Pete Gray not going to be joining us this morning. He's up hosting that fantastic trip to Whalers Cove, and hopefully we'll be hearing from him tomorrow with a great report. Maybe we'll even check in today. But, man, are we going to be having lots of fun. We got the man, Mark Wisch, your private boater buddy from Pacific Edge, FishDope.com reporter, bait tank master. It is going to be a fantastic show today, talking all kinds of fishing, and boy, do we have fishing to talk about today. You stay tuned. You're in for a good one. It's Southern California's sport fishing voice. That's Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
The bluefin are abundant this year, but getting them to bite is another story. But if you're willing to chase them, there's an opportunity to land the catch of a lifetime. Now, getting the deal of a lifetime on a new Ford is much less effort because the gigantic summer sales event is going on now at your San Diego County Ford dealer. Choose from a great selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs and save big on interest charges with 0 APR long-term financing. On top of that, your Ford dealer will give you an additional bonus for your qualified trade. This special offer is available to anyone who gets approved through Ford Motor Credit. You'll also find great deals on new Ford Super Duty, Motor Trend Magazine's 2017 Truck of the Year. So why chase deals all over town when you can land the deal of a lifetime on the new Ford, car, truck, or SUV you've always wanted during the Ford Summer Sales Event? Stop by any San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up. Learn more at buyfordnow.com.
Sport fishing, not just for dad anymore. At Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, kids fish free every Sunday. Free half-day fishing trip and clinic free for kids 12 and under every Sunday at Dana Wharf. Join the Dana Wharf Kids Club and get over $100 of really cool stuff like 2 free fishing trips, a free whale watch trip, and more. Dana Wharf, everyone's favorite since 1971. Click DanaWharf.com or visit them in the Dana Point Harbor, the bass capital of the West, and only minutes from the 5 freeway in Orange County. DanaWharf.com, where kids fish free.
You've heard all about it. You know the angler's catching fish habit, so what's holding you back? It's a fact. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. You can get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Martin Island, 365 days a year. FishDope.com is for everyone, whether you have your own boat, fish on your friend's boat, or a sport boat. FishDope.com has online planning tools, moon phase, tides, hot bite icons, and more. So bottom line is, if you don't have FishDope.com, well, you're probably missing a lot of bites. Membership costs less than $50 of gas, and that's for the entire year. That's right, 1 year. What a bargain. Plus, use the special code to save $20 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel. Bluefin tuna are here, and now is the time to take advantage of this amazing bite. The hot jig last year and this season is the Shimano Butterfly Flat Fall Jig. It's a totally new concept of butterfly jigging, but deadly effective. Best part, it's very simple to fish the Shimano Flat Fall. Drop the jig down to where the fish are holding, then crank it up 30 feet and then free spool. Or cast the jig and let it fall while in free spool. Wait for the bite, then put it in gear and wind. It's that easy. The Shimano Flat Fall is a center balanced jig and falls with a wobbling action in a horizontal position, making it irresistible to big bluefin tuna. Hundreds of big fish have been caught on the Flat Fall, ranging in size from the 130 gram to the 250 gram. They're back in stock now at your local Shimano dealer. So get yours now and go catch a fish of a lifetime on the Shimano Butterfly Flat Fall Jig. See your local dealer or check Shimano.com for all the details.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090 here. Lots of great, exciting, fun stuff that goes on right now this time of year. How do you make the call? do you even put your reports together every week, Mark? We know there's so much that goes on this time of year between kelp patties and big tuna, and there is so much fishing opportunity. This is it. It's August. This is what we wait for.
It's game on.
It is game on.
It's like we were just sitting here talking just a little bit ago about some of the stuff that's going on. But, yeah, it's crazy. And, and the way I do the report is that I take just a yellow sheet of, legal pad.
Right.
And I make my notes, and I make 1 page of notes, which is the amount of time that I have pretty much to do the report,
right.
Unless we got, something crazy going on. And I just try to hit the highlights. And, in the winter, it's easy to cover them all. And at this time of year, we got to pick and choose. There's no way to cover it all. It's such good fishing, and it's over such a big area right now.
There's definitely more than a legal pad's worth of stuff going on right now.
Any one subject. You could talk about kelp patty fishing and some of the inshore stuff. You could talk, obviously, about that bluefin. You could talk about the yellowtail around the islands. Or, it's just, the calico bass fishing right now is good. That's a subject near and dear to my heart. But, it's hard to talk about calico bass fishing when you got 300-pound bluefin right here in your backyard.
Totally.
So it's just like, oh, my God. I was looking, at the Internet, just looking at some pictures, and I forget where it was, but there's a picture of a couple behind a bluefin that takes up the whole cockpit of a big boat. I think her fish weighed 270 or something like that. It's like, and that's 50, 60 miles from the coastline right here. I mean, all that long-range grade fish that people spent zillions of dollars and so much time and effort to catch is like right here in our backyard. It's unbelievable. And it's driving, as you well know, where you work, it's driving people nuts.
It's crazy. It is just crazy. It drives people nuts, and it drives us nuts. I mean, you hear about it every day, and, the excitement that goes on, especially at the landing, is crazy because, everybody's fired up, and they either just caught a big one or they're going to get a big one, and then, you hear there's like a new segment. The way the technology works as far as communication on the boats now, everything on our sport boats is driven by satellite communications, dispatch radios. So now the info is instant, and you no longer wait till the end of the day until you're within range of a guy. And the dispatch radios all operate on a speaker. It's not like a handheld radio. That speaker's loud enough that it's audible, that everybody in the store hears it. So it adds this extra crazy cool element with as busy as you are and everything's going on, and you're showing a guy a brand new Trinidad, you hear the beep beep, and next thing you know, there's the Pacific Queen calling in. Yeah, we have limits of yellowtail, and we just put a 200-pounder on the deck. And, all of that is going on throughout the day, and it is infectious, man.
Yeah,
there is such good stuff going on right now.
There's so much good stuff, and like you said it, I mean, it's so instant. It's so different than the way I grew up fishing when you actually could fly under the radar for days on end.
It doesn't happen anymore.
You had your little code group, and you kept stuff quiet, and nobody knew what the hell was going on. Man, it's just a different world today. And I guess it's all good, but, man, it's sure different. But
it's fun.
I've been doing the tackle end and the fishing thing, obviously, a pretty long time. And I am just absolutely, to this day, I am blown away by what I've seen the last couple of years with this grade of fish that's here with this bluefin. Some of the other fish too, but, no doubt it's the bluefin stealing the show. And the amount of tackle innovation we've seen and the refinement of techniques so quickly to go from 3 years ago when, some of those big fish was around and guys mostly were hooking them and getting destroyed, to now where, if you're paying a little bit of attention, you've got a really reasonable shot of catching a big one.
A cow. I mean,
or a super cow.
Yeah, some things that were only dreamt about on a 16-day with all the stars aligned perfectly. Maybe you might get a shot at one. Now you could take a 21-foot center console out and don't bite that thing, boy, because you're in trouble. You're in trouble if I hook you on this gear, and that's the type of fishing that's going on right now.
The first time that I fished on Royal Star on a trip going to the Revias, and I just did a little article for Fish Taco Chronicles, and I put this in there because it's one of those epiphany moments that sticks with you. Tim Ekstrom has got us in the gallon. He's doing the little tackle seminar, and he said, Tim, he's pretty direct about things. Yeah. And he said,
no beating around the bush.
No beating around the bush. And I like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's just call it like we see it here. He said, there's never a time that you guys might throw a bait down here that there isn't an opportunity to hook a 300-pounder. And if you do, you're going to be pushing your tackle to the red line and beyond, so it better be perfect. And you've heard Tim say stuff like that. And, that was 20 years ago. And it is absolutely, totally true today. I mean, you might hook a 300-pounder. One of those guys drifting around, off the east end of Clemente right now might hook a 300-pounder, and you better hope that gear is perfect, buddy.
There is so much that goes into big fish type fishing, and you're right, it's everything. There can't be any mistakes made along the way. Obviously, from where you're at to how you're presenting your baits, all that has to be right. And then the tackle is the obvious one. There can be no chinks in the armor. I mean, it's got to be right when they get to that big. And we say that all the time at the shop. The last 2 years gave us such exciting, cool fishing on catchable ones. 40 to 60 pound bluefins were pretty common, and that fish is really big and pulls really hard, but you can still make some mistakes. Your connections can be good, but maybe not perfect, and your hooks can be strong enough, but just strong enough. And we always say when that fish is over 150 pounds, there's no such thing as good enough. It can't be.
Gotta be perfect.
Can't be okay. It's got to be all the way. And it's cool.
That grade is just so much bigger across the board this year. And they, the biologists that know about such things, they said last year that we would have more fish than last year, and those fish that we have, it's pretty much the same fish, they think. And it's just all a whole bunch bigger. And
it's been a year.
They weren't fooling around.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
But and you said it a minute ago, it's so easy to let these giant bluefin steal the show. There is so much more going on right now than just the fact that the flash bulbs go off when a 200-pound tuna comes rolling up to the dock. But there is some of the best local kelp patty and dorado fishing all the way up and down the coast that I can remember in a long, long time. And when you're seeing Instagram photos of the San Mateo doing a half-day trip at a Dana Wharf Sport Fishing and holding up a bunch of dorados and nice yellows, and it's great that, because big bluefin, the exciting is it's trophy hunting for sure, and you definitely don't go hang a 200-pounder upside down every time you pull the boat away from the dock. I mean, you put some time in, and you have a lot of misses, and you burn a lot of fuel
for sure.
trying to do it. And so a lot of people are stoked with this opportunity that they can go drive the boat away and probably find a kelp and probably load up on dorado and yellow, and now this yellowfin tuna's around.
Yeah. One of our customers was in yesterday afternoon, and he's got a smaller boat, and he was fishing last weekend 3.5 miles off Huntington Beach, fishing out toward the end of the pipe there where they fish sculpin. And he's
the sculpin zone.
The sculpin zone, which has been, that's a whole other story. You guys want to talk sculpin? Here we can talk sculpin. Anyway, so they're out there doing something. He's got a couple mackerels in the tank. He sees this little sprig of kelp, and he says, "Oh, well, that's kelp patty. We better throw a bait at it." Throws a mackerel, kaboom, big old boil, and catches I forget what 20-something pound dorado. 3 miles off Huntington Beach.
3 miles.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Fishing in a sculpin zone.
It's so cool.
So, you got to be ready, guys. There is so much opportunity right now, whether it's, like Ricky was saying, dorado on the kelps, yellow on the kelps, yellow on the structure spots.
Yeah.
It's just, or sculpin.
Yeah. You combo it up.
Those poor sculpins out on the 150, we had that good bass fishing there for a little bit and some barracuda, and then that fizzled sadly. And, man, those poor sculpins are just taking a beating out there on them spots. They're just pounding them.
There's not much better fish that comes out of the ocean than a sculpin, man.
Fish tacos,
Eating-wise, they're about as good as they get. And, it was really exciting to see the three-quarter-day fishing down in San Diego this way. I mean, I don't recall seeing it this good in quite some time with that opportunities at bluefin that still exist for our three-quarter-day guys. And then just seeing, full loads on the boat, groups of 30 and 40 and 50 people, and then having absolute full limits of yellowtail.
Yeah,
I mean, it's fantastic. And pick the way you want to catch them. Surface iron, fly line, and baits. And it's just, it's really, really cool things going on. And with as crazy as the fishing is, I can only imagine how crazy things are inside of Pacific Edge right now.
Oh, it's been hectic. It's just, and this is really, the third or fourth year of the cycle. It's business is great. bait tank business is extremely great. Lot going on. We get the occasional really large custom tanks, which, I love those big boat guys, but, in a sense, I actually prefer our guys with, like your boat there, 25-foot Parker. It's perfect. They get all their stuff. They're all fired up, get them all geared up, ready to go. And, and then they come back and we hear these stories that they never thought would be possible because, today's boats, engines, electronics, tackle, everything is so good that all you got to do is just get out there and you got a good shot. So it's gratifying, and we are busy. We're very busy.
We talk about it. I mean, I talk about it on the show all the time, and both my boat partner and I can't. We agree every single time we use it. The best money that we have put into our boat so far is one of your tanks, and I don't say it for blowing smoke. I don't say it because you're sitting right here. I mean, that is the best purchase we have made was one of your bait tanks. I know that there are a lot of good manufacturers out there, but I will never own a boat that doesn't have one of your bait tanks on it. I think it's the best thing you can do. We're a live bait fishery. That's what we do here. It's Southern California, and live bait is so important. And you hear about it all the time. We're crazy lucky in San Diego that we have Everingham Brothers Bait Company. They're the best in the world. They always have fantastic bait. But it's August, and the water's hot, and everybody's going. And you'll hear sometimes guys griping about their bait. You put that same bait into a good Pacific Edge tank, don't overload it, treat it the way that it should be, and you chuckle when you hear that guy who was in line in front of you. We got the same passes of bait, and yours lived great all day and had plenty of it. There's a difference, and it's what you're putting it in.
Yeah, it's really obvious. I had a customer come by with the little East Coast style trailer boat, nice little boat, cool little boat, and his built-in tank that was in the boat is kind of shaped like a bathtub, so it was narrow at the bottom, wider at the top, rounded on each end. So it would just slosh horribly. And, and the guy just losing his mind about trying to keep bait alive. And I said, dude, I'm sorry, but you couldn't have a shape that's worse to hold bait. What do you expect? So, yeah, we hear it all the time. And we got answers for 99.9% of you.
I can't say enough about it. And you do so many things with them. I mean, it's what you do. Pacific Edge makes the best tanks out there. And when we got our boat, the only thing we knew we wanted was a ton of bait. Steve Loomis is the guy that said that to me a long time ago. And, nothing works better than live bait and lots of it. And it's the truth. Whether you're using it, you're chumming it, you're making it happen. You don't need to fill the capacity when you don't need it. But, boy, you can't have enough of it when it's what it takes. And to be able to chum out of a private boat is something that we never thought was a thing. And
So for San Diego bait, with your tank, which is 80 gallons, how many San Diego scoops do you typically put in that to fill that?
If we're going offshore, we usually put 3 scoops inside of it,
and hold that comfortably.
No. My feeling is you probably could put more in it, depending on the shape that the bait's in, how long it's been in the tape, things like that. But we put 3 comfortably, knowing that there's plenty of room for that bait to live. And if it's really tough conditions, maybe we'll even put a little bit less in. But we usually put 3 full scoops in that tank and have. We don't have die-off, and it just doesn't. It doesn't happen. Nice, that tank holds that bait very, very comfortably.
Yeah, I just went and picked up another one of those yesterday, and I was just looking at it. And that's just one of the coolest tanks. It's a new mold, and it's just we took a lot of care with the plug, because what the plug looks like is what the mold and then the ultimate product looks like, and so we took a lot of care with that plug to make it just perfect. And this is a cool looking tank. Of course, they're working good. We're glad to hear it, man.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. And you guys are so much more than just the tank, as far as recommendations on plumbing and the types of pumps. And there's so much that goes into it. And, with a project like ours, you looked at it and, trust me, neither Neil or I are rich guys, but that's a very important part. We just said, Mark, just do whatever you think is right, and that's exactly it. And now we've had an absolute trouble-free bait system that is awesome. Perfect. Yeah, couldn't be happier.
That's awesome.
So now it's busy. It's summertime. Oh. Guys are wanting tanks, are getting new boats, things like that. How much of Pacific Edge keeps your time building bait tanks? How much is tackle store? Is everything just crazy? I mean, can a guy come up and still, hey, I'm getting a new boat, or hey, I just bought a new used boat. I'm that East Coast guy. My bait tank sucks. the water sloshes around, I don't hold bait, can we still come up and buy a killer tank from you?
Yeah, we're obviously very busy, and right now in terms of deliveries, we're about 4 weeks out, maybe 5 weeks out. We got a lot of stuff on order. It's a very busy time of year. We have the springtime is busy, and then we get a little lull kind of 4th of July time because everybody's all, they want their stuff. They've been fishing, and now we're getting, the rebite. We kick the chum out from underneath the boat, and they come back up boiling again. So we're getting that. We're crazy busy, but, we're about 50-50 between tank stuff and tackle store stuff.
Cool.
Probably could have 3 guys sitting there rigging yummy flyers right now, but, oh, my God, that whole thing is...
It's wild.
It's wild. Hey, new innovation. In fact, I got a picture on my phone I'll show you here at the break. New innovation, the latest and greatest.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to see it.
We're kicking it up a notch.
Well, we're excited to hear from you today. I mean, there is so much to talk about, and what perfect timing to have a guy like Mark Wisch. Obviously, we hear him every week with our fishdope.com reports, but, boy, you want to talk about all things going on from the tackle guru and rigging of big fish at Pacific Edge, obviously the bait tanks and bait systems, and just all this great fishing that's going on right now. What a perfect day and a perfect guy to talk fishing with us, and, man, are we going to have a great one today. We want to hear from you. If you want to get through on Let's Talk Hookup, there's 2 ways you can reach us. First is with our local line. That's 858 area code 457-1090. Again, 858-457-1090. That's our local line. Or you can reach us toll-free, and our toll-free number is 877-792-1090. Again, 877-792-1090. And not only are we going to be answering all your questions, talking all kinds of fishing, we got tons of great killer reports scheduled throughout the day. We have also got a couple of great prizes. One lucky caller at the end of the show today is going to get to go on a 3-quarter-day trip aboard the San Diego out of C4 Sport Fishing. Have your opportunity to participate in this fantastic fishing that's going on right now. We've seen several days with limit-style fishing on the San Diego. We're going to hear from Marcos later in the show with our Seaforth report, but, I mean, just unbelievable yellowtail fishing going on aboard the San Diego to Seaforth. And one lucky caller is going to get to go on that trip, and then another lucky caller at the end of the show today is going to win an opportunity to go to the great CCA event that's coming up. It's the Craft Food and Beer Festival. It's August the 26th. Coming up from 5:30 to 9:30 at Portuguese Hall in San Diego. I went to the event last year, definitely going again this year. Very, very fun times. It's just a very mellow, fun time to hang out with a bunch of like-minded fishing guys. They have craft beer. They got great food. And you just get to hang out and rub shoulders and BS and talk fishing. They do a great raffle. All the money goes to support CCA. Again, it's August 26th at Portuguese Hall. And that's thanks to our really good buddy, Steve Pazel. He just heard the show and said, hey, you know what, I want to buy a ticket out of my own pocket to give it away in the show. So we really appreciate that, Pazel. And again, one lucky caller at the end of the show today is going to win both those great prizes, a 3-quarter-day trip aboard the San Diego and ticket to the great CCA event coming up at Portuguese Hall in San Diego, August the 26th. And when we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Tons of information coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
Had a dream.
Are you feeling that itch to get out on the water? Come fishing on the American Angler and reacquaint yourself with some familiar faces and make new friends. Captain owners Brian Kiyohara and Sam Patella take pride in every aspect of the American Angler operation, from their loyal and trusted crew to the sashimi-grade fresh fish you'll take home. It's easy to find a vacation that fits your schedule. We have everything from day and a half to 10-day trips and longer. Call me at the office, 619-223-5414, or check us out at AmericanAnglerSportFishing.com. We want you to become a part of the American Angler family.
All right, it's time to talk about great gear from Shimano. And as we talked about, obviously, this great bluefin fishing is fantastic. Everything's good. But let's talk about kelp patty, yellowtail, and dorado. And a new reel this year that just came out, the Tranx 400. You want to talk about the perfect reel to be taken on your local kelp patty style trip. Tranx 400 is small, fits in the palm of your hand, but huge power, huge torque, and so easy to cast. Whether you're flipping a live bait for a dorado or a yellowtail, casting a little popper at a yellowfin tuna, that reel is virtually the size of a bass reel. And Mark, you can attest to it. That thing will catch local tunas, yellows, the whole nine.
They built them strong, and the beauty of those things with the little centrifugal weights in there. You can set it just right to be able to cast the popper on Spectra all day long without a backlash.
Put it in the hands of your wife, your girlfriend, or somebody that's just getting new to fishing that's going along with you. You can dial those brakes up. They're not going to have the old bird's nest casting problem. It's a perfect reel and a great choice for your next local trip. That's the Tranks 400. Check it out at your local tackle store.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
You know, the ranch is unique. It's one of the few places in the world where you can still drive ATVs up the beach. We have fishing from the beach. We have dive trips that we run to Pomo in a number of different spots. Kayaking, of course, has been real big. We were one of the first hotels to introduce kayaking. The ranch is small, you know, it's intimate. It's 34 rooms, so everyone gets to know everyone. The old saying, where everyone knows your name. Well, truly at Rancho Leonero, the employees do know pretty darn near all our guests' names. And what's even more interesting is most of the guests know each other's names. Very personal, very intimate, and a special, special environment. 2 miles of beachfront, a mile on either side of the hotel. Rancho Leonero is really the last of the old-style Baja fishing resorts. 1-800-646-2252. 1-800-646-BAJA. And RanchoLeonero.com. I'll personally guarantee your best fishing experience and vacation at Rancho Leonero.
There's a new kid in town, and they are creating near miracles on boats all over the Southland. It's Blue Seas Fabrication, the West Coast first and only certified sea deck fabricator and installer. Install sea deck EVA from non-skid decking materials on your boat, sport fisher, or yacht, and your boating experience is enhanced and improved. Why? Well, first, sea deck from Blue Seas Fabrication enriches the look of any boat, old or new. Next, the SeaDeck non-skid decking material adds comfort, convenience, safety, and value. The possibilities are endless. Let the experts from Blue Seas Fabrication show you how SeaDeck will make your life easier and better on every trip. Their professional staff will custom fit your deck, bridge, and interior with the stylish, non-absorbent, stain-resistant, and easy-to-clean material in multiple textures, designs, and colors. SeaDeck offers comfort and anti-fatigue properties for those long days of fishing. It can also be used on kayaks, boat trailers, and more. See for yourself. Check BlueSeasFabrication.com to see how SeaDeck can transform your watercraft and truly create a wow factor for the next time you head out. Call them at 858-232-4188 for more information and a free quote. Check BlueSeasFabrication.com and enhance your fishing experience.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Again, we're live. We're live on the air this morning. Used to be in live broadcast. Mark Wisch, Pacific Edge. We always say our private boater buddy, and just couldn't be a better time for it with such good private boat fishing, sport boat fishing, and everything else going on. Again, if you want to get in on the fun this morning, join us. We'd love to hear from you. 2 ways. Again, 858 area code 457 1090, 858 457 1090, or toll free 877-792-1090. Again, we're giving away a 3/4 day trip to go fishing on the San Diego out of C4 Sport Fishing, and ticket to the CCA event coming up August 26th at Portuguese Hall. The Craft Food and Beer Festival, going to be a great time. And let's jump into the phones. They're jam-packed. Everybody's excited to talk to Mark. And why don't we start it off this morning with Chuck, who's calling us from Dana Point. Chuck, thanks for getting us started here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Chuck.
You know, I had one of those big tanks, and, I was giving a customer advice yesterday. Get the one with the light in it and buy a spare bilge pump, because you never know what happens. Throwing out good bait is just a crime when that pump stops.
Yeah.
And another thing I was going to announce was the jig stop's closing here in Dana Point. Dave's retiring and going fishing.
Oh, well, I had no idea.
Big sale going on. That place has been there 50 years.
Yeah.
Boy, they're probably going to have some great deals for you guys.
Yeah,
don't go today, because I'm going to be there. Go tomorrow.
Dave Myers, certainly
I've already pulled stuff out.
Dave Myers, a good guy and a good friend of the show. And, we're sorry to hear he's retiring, but stoked for him to get to go fishing for sure.
I congratulated him,
Yeah, that's awesome, Chuck. Well, good info and appreciate the tips for sure.
Yeah. We still got Hogan's in town, but Dave's been there. That shop's been there 50 years.
Yeah.
I believe that.
No doubt about it. Well, appreciate the phone call very much. And, Mark, Chuck brings up a really good point about bait pumps and what are the things, I mean, you've seen it all, from the good, the bad, the ugly, and the preparedness. What's a good way to go about avoiding that situation? You sucked up a piece of eelgrass, the pump died, and your day's over. What are the things that you've seen, whether it's spare pumps or alarms or redundant systems? Like,
Yeah.
What is the good, the bad, and the ugly?
All of that. The best way to do that, obviously your through hole that's on the bottom side of the boat, it's got to have a little strainer on it, okay? But that only keeps out the big chunks. And then if you have room, which not all boats do,
sure,
but the best way to do it on the inside is to have a separate sea strainer ahead of your bait pump, because that gets all the stuff out of there. And you mentioned eelgrass. Eelgrass will come through the outside strainer, and we're probably going to be sitting over in Pyramid Cove tonight. That is the home of eelgrass floating around in the water. And without a strainer, I mean, it's just a major nightmare, because those little stringy pieces of eelgrass that get wrapped up in the impeller brings everything to a screech and halt. So if you have room for a strainer, by all means do that. If not, you're just going to have to keep an eye on your system. Mm-hmm. The other thing with the plastic pumps, and especially the Rule ones, it's nice that they went to that tournament series where you can swap out the pump cartridge. But sad to say, they've just got a run of bad pumps, and they just keep pumping them out. They electrolysis eats off the shaft, and they, I spoke with a guy yesterday afternoon. He's got 2 trips out of his pump, and it's just, it's like, come on, guys. I wish they would fix that.
They're the epitome of ease.
Yeah.
But the worst pump in the world. They're awful.
But not all of them.
But right.
Like my friend Mike's boat that I'm going fishing on, when I did that system, it's a dual pump system. We got 2 inlets, 2 pumps, which is the best way to do it. One of them is a Cyclone, and the other one is a Rule, because it's just a backup pump. And that same Rule 1100 has been in there for 4 years, and it's, best I know, I haven't turned it on for a while, but best I know, it's still got its impeller. So they, it's not that kind of pump won't last. They just got some bad metal or bad bleed off of electronics or something in there that's eating up those shafts, because it's a horrible situation for guys.
Because the shaft that impeller sits on, it's about as big as a pencil lead.
Yeah,
it doesn't take a lot for it to go away.
Yeah.
And that's the system the same thing that you just mentioned. That's what you did in our boat. We have 2 pumps. The boat came with 2 through holes.
Right.
So there are 2 pumps that go up to a little manifold, and with just a flip of a switch and the flip of a valve, if one pump happens to go down, you can literally just flip the other pump on and close the valve from one pump and turn it on to the other, and boom, you're up and away and going again.
It doesn't take long. And then another thing you mentioned when you were first leading into this is bait alarms, and it's another thing. You need a little bit of extra room and a little extra budget, but you can put a flow alarm in there, so if the water either from the pump going in or in the exhaust coming out, you can do it either way. If it stops, then a horn goes off and a siren goes off, and there's no sleeping through it, and there's no ignoring it, and it's an instant warning that you've got drama, and it will save you bait. When I was running charters on the different boats, we had bait alarms, and they go off from time to time. Sometimes they plug up a squid when you're making bait. Another time at Santa Barbara Island, we just sucked a leaf of kelp over one of the intakes, and had that alarm not gone off, we might have lost the whole tank of bait.
And let's face it, when you're running to the grounds, which is where you're spending the majority of the day, you don't have your head in the bait tank. You just don't know when those scenarios occur. And for a light and a buzzer to be going off, it's not that much money, and it's not that bad, but it's the difference. And if you're going offshore, it's not the $60 that you spent on your load of bait. It's the hundreds of dollars in fuel and your time off of work. And we only get so many Saturdays in August to go get this job done. And
slide up on that foamer, and you want to start pouring out some bait, and it's all dead.
Yeah, that's a really good call. And those are all things that you can purchase through Pacific Edge, or you can at least get a guy.
We have most all that stuff in stock. Yeah, that's
awesome.
What we do.
That's a good call. Chuck, great phone call. Appreciate that very much. Hey, with that, it's time to find out what's going on in the Baja. It is time for our Cast Tours Report. Today, sponsored by Scorpion Sport Fishing, featuring 2 of the best boats in the East Cape, a 35-foot Cabo yacht, the El Regalo, and the 26-foot twin outboard center console, the Scorpion. They also offer beach fishing, and the professionals at Scorpion Sport Fishing are equipped and determined to make your fishing dreams come true. Check ScorpionSportFishing.com for the finest charters in the East Cape. And just like in the Dorado shootout, Scorpion Sport Fishing had a fantastic finish in the East Cape Bisbees with their boat, the El Regalo. I know a big qualifier, and hats off to those guys, because they are just kicking some serious butt in that tournament circuit. Hey, let's talk to the cast man, Richard Castaneda from Cast Tours. Buenos dias, cast man.
Buenos dias, Ricky, Mark. Hope you guys are doing well.
Hey, Cass.
We're having fun, buddy. Lots of good fishing going on down here.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I just got up to Oregon yesterday, and we'll be up here for a couple of months and start getting into the salmon. And, of course, I've been in contact with some of the landies up here regarding the albacore, and it looks like they're out there. It's just that it hasn't become a consistent bite yet, and they've been running 50 miles. But I've already got my, my notice for them to email me when they're within range and pretty consistent. So looks like I'm going to be out getting them this month. But otherwise, fishing down in the southern Baja, of course, here we go again. The Iman Bank there at San Jose del Cabo, still banging out tuna there from football size up to 80 pounds. Some of them being caught on live and dead sardinas, other ones on chunk squid. There's a few wahoo around, a few small dorado around. The bottom fishing, basically nothing right now. It's got some really strong currents, and the bottom fishery there for the pargo and the amberjacks and so forth is kind of non-existent right now. But as far as marlin goes, blue marlin still being caught, sailfish being caught. A little more sails coming now into the area, and they're doing pretty well on the sails. And then, of course, the cobble boats have found some tuna up around the corner there from Cabo, heading up toward the Golden Gate back near the beach there. They got into some pretty good tuna action there. Nothing really big, but it was consistent bite there, providing some limits for anglers there. Now, as far as the mainland Mexico, Mazatlan continues to be okay for sales. Not a lot. A few yellowfin tuna. And, of course, along the beaches, lots and lots of small dorado there. And hopefully they're letting those guys go and not keeping them. Maybe one, for a little dinner or something, or a fish taco. But we've got to let those guys go because the last couple of years they've been basically non-existent. Ixtapas y Montenegro, it looks like that season's just about over there. They're starting to get the range now. The rivers are starting to flush out. But they've had a really good inshore bite for roosters and big jacks. And like I say, offshore, it looks like that's over for the season. They'll start up again in October and then fish strong from there all the way through the springtime. As far as Cancun goes there, sailfish in the mix, a few wahoo in the mix, a few dorado in the mix. Not too bad, a few white marlin, but that's about it. But that's a report for this week, Ricky. Like I said, I'm hopefully get into the albacore. It's been a long time since I've caught one, so I'm really got my sights set on nailing a few albacore this year, and I'll keep you posted on how that goes. Anyway, that's the report for this week. Give us a call at Cast Tours, 800-593-6510. Check us out on the web at our new website at www.casttours.com. And also there's some $50 discount for our listeners. They all they got to do is click onto the website, and they can see the discounts on some of the trips there that we offer, and $50 off. Anyway, that's it, Rick. Talk to you next week.
Castman, outside of a Point Loma Seafoods tuna sandwich or a can of American tuna, I don't even remember what those things look like.
Yeah, you're right. I'll take a picture, though. Send you one.
Do that for sure, buddy. Great report, Cass. We appreciate that. New website's awesome. I know we mentioned it a couple times, but you guys did a great job. All the information to go on any of your great trips, the sponsored trips or anything travel-related whatsoever can be found there. Great job, Cass. We sure appreciate it, as always, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Take care, Rick.
All right, Cass, appreciate that very much. Good luck on those long fins. Hey, Scott Sherman is on the line. What's going on, Sherm?
Hey, buddy. Another good show this morning. Boy, I tell you, the patty fishing has been pretty good lately.
Yeah, pretty fun, huh? Not a bad time to have a 25-foot Parker?
It's been awesome, I'm telling you. The thing is always ready. We've got plenty of bait and all the electronics and plenty of range. And I tell you, there's the yellowtail under the patties, everybody's been catching those 8 to 10 pounders, with that kind of thing. But I tell you, if you take mackerel and you find a good patty and you start soaking a mackerel around it, chances are for some good sized ones. I mean, a couple weeks we had 11 yellowtail all in that 25-pound range, and then I got one slug last week that went over 30. So I mean, it's been wow. If you bring the mackerel with you, boy, I tell you, your chances improve of getting a bigger fish under those patties.
That's a great call, Scott. No doubt about that. And just, that's a great something about those things, too, can just be the difference between, like you say, maybe isolating a big fish out of a kelp or when you get on some of those kelps where that dorado is around and they keep swimming by the boat and frustrating the hell out of you and you can't make them to bite. Sometimes firing a big greenie in there can be the difference between getting those things fired up and getting a bite and not. I think that's a great call.
And I got a question for your bait tank guru here.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, what are your thoughts on the light in the bottom of the bait tank?
You know, I think it's always a good idea, especially if you put a lid on the tank that doesn't have any kind of, plexiglass window in it. You put the lid on, it gets really dark in there, and I think that's a little disorientating. So the light helps in that circumstance. If you don't have a lid on there, then I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, the only issue I have, my tank has a light in the bottom of it, which I don't have any issues with the bait, but when it's nighttime or gray light, you take the lid off the tank, you look down for a sardine, and you get blasted right in the face,
Yeah, well, you can take a lot of those little LED lights, that's a plastic surface, you can sand it, kind of like your own personal sandblaster. You can sand it, knock some of that gloss off, or you can spray it with a little bit of paint, just tune it down a little bit. We use those little blue, the smaller lights and the blue ones, so it's not as bad, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Depending on what you got in there, they put one of them big ones in there. It's bright white, boy. It's painful to look at it.
That makes total sense. What he's saying. We were lucky enough to have you install our tank and use that exact same blue LED, and there's no issue. Yeah, but it's enough that bait can swim around in the tank and not be bumping into. They can see where they're going at nighttime.
There you go,
Scott.
Perfect, guys.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Great call, buddy. Glad you had such good fishing. Glad you're putting that 25 Park from West Marine to such good use.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everything done today so I can squeeze a day in tomorrow too. But we're off to Baja next week, so we'll see what happens.
I think I'm trying to do the same thing. I'll see you out there, buddy.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate the phone call very much. Hey, with that, let's head up north. We're going to Alaska. We got the man. Jeff Top is on the line. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. How you doing?
We're doing great. What's going on up in beautiful Katmai?
Well, it's going on. It's really going on again. We've kind of our king season's closed now, and it's a good thing they're up there responding, doing their thing. But now the talk around the camp is the silver salmon. The silver just started showing up last week since I talked to you last, and it's getting to the point now where all the rest of the salmon are kind of second wind of the silvers. We've been catching a bunch a day, jumping, cartwheeling. It's been crazy.
So cool.
So by this week, probably by the end of this week coming up here, it'll be full on, full bore. So it's been really good for that. Both on spin rod tackle, like a medium action and a 4,000 size reel, 7.5 foot rod. And then some fly rod stuff too. So the salmon fishing remains really, really good. We've been lucky enough to have the right weather for it, some overcast days, nothing too serious weather-wise, but just overcast and kind of low winds makes nice fishing conditions. And then, set a bunch of guys upriver the other day for some trout fishing, and that's getting better and better as these salmon start to spawn their eggs. The trout start eating their eggs, And then we fish a little bead system that looks just like their eggs, and the trout just can't help themselves. I was up on the Battle Creek the other day, and had two husband and wife up there with me, and we caught the heck out of them. I think we only had to fish 2 spots, and that was the whole day.
Wow.
So it was pretty amazing.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And that silver salmon is known for being amongst the most acrobatic when you pull on them. They're big fish and just go nuts when you get a hook in them.
Absolutely. I mean, rarely do you have a silver salmon that doesn't jump. Normally they'll jump 4, 5, 6, 8 times sometimes. It's crazy. They're the closest thing in the salmon world, in my opinion, the closest thing in the salmon world to the steelhead. The steelhead, that's that rainbow trout. They jump a lot, and then the silver, and then off we go from there. But it's been good for them, they've been coming in on every tide, fresh fish every day, jumping, breaking gear and tackle, busting lines. It's been radical.
That's awesome, Jeff. Well, sounds amazing as always. I know that it's a very busy place and not an easy spot to get an opportunity to go fishing at Katmai, but any opportunities for this year? And I know you're already steady booking for next, but any opportunities to come up and go this season?
We probably have just a couple of spots left. The last week of August would be about all we'd have right now. We're just about finished up with our availability. Next year's a whole nother story. We got openings about every week except for a couple of them. Not a lot of openings each week, but some in each week, and it's time to make the plan. I mean, this next year coming up, we're looking at, you look back 4 years at our salmon runs 4 years ago, which will be our fish coming back in next year, and should be another amazing year.
There's a reason.
It's time to go. I mean, it's going to be killer.
There's a reason that it's so difficult to go to Katmai, and that's because it's worth it. The trips are so good. The fishing's so good. You hear week after week of you giving your great reports. I mean, both Pete Jackaloni and Pete Gray, when they came, both talking about how amazing the trip was and how amazing the fishing was, and it's why it's worth it. So if somebody wants to book a trip to come up with you, if they want to go on one of the 2 trips that we're doing with Let's Talk Hookup next year, if they want to get a week of their own, what's the best way to do it if we want to either get in on that last week in August or better yet booking our trip for next year?
Well, you had talked about, the reason it's so good is it's not easy. And that's exactly right. That's why it's not. That's why we have fishing like we have it, is because there's some effort that comes into getting here, and that makes it worth every bit because you feel like you got your own little place. But you want to come see us? Yeah, come see us. Call the 800 number, the 1-800-330-0326. Check us out on Facebook. Pretty up to date on that these days. And our website is katmai.com. And then that links right over to Facebook. Lots of photos, lots of information on the website, lots of good stuff going on there. And then, if you want to catch us up here this last week, we're going to be open. We've got a couple openings. It'll be awesome.
That's it, Jeff.
Look into that 2018. We're excited to have you guys up there for 2 groups. You guys always bring great people. Pete Jack's a great guy. I had a good time guiding him. Really enjoyed him. So you guys' groups have been amazing. We're already looking forward to seeing you next year.
Well, we can't wait, and I'm glad that you were able to bend Pete's arm enough to get him to slide me up there with you, too. Jeff, great report. Great job. We're really looking forward to hearing another one here next Saturday.
All right, buddy. You be good. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Rick.
See you, bud. You got it. Appreciate the phone call very much. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup. A great opportunity for you to get through. It's been a very busy morning on the phones already. We have one line open, 858-457-1090, and a toll-free line open. That one's 877-792-1090. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the mighty 1090.
Yeah, the steelhead run. Nothing is more exciting than fishing Cedros Island on a Hobie Mirage Drive kayak. And Cedros Kayak Fishing will hook you up on this amazing experience. Cedros Kayak Fishing offers deluxe accommodations in their beautiful secluded casita with all the comforts you would expect from a high-end resort, including single occupancy rooms and filtered water. Kayak tours are on Hobie Outback kayaks with bait tanks, fish finder, and VHF radios to ensure a great experience. Fly to Cedros and travel light, as Cedros Tackle has a fully outfitted tackle shop, including top-of-the-line rental gear. After a long day on the water, enjoy delicious local cuisine prepared by the staff. Cedros Kayak Adventures also has a fully outfitted panga and off-road truck and trailer to take you to super secluded spots. Fish where the others don't with Cedros Kayak Fishing. Come join Jeff and the gang for a great trip on Cedros Island. Visit the website at cedroskayakfishing.com for more information and to book your trip.
22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro is home to LA's finest open party fleet, including overnights on the Freedom, Catalina Freelance on the Pursuit, half-day trips on the Monte Carlo, and 3/4-day trips on the Native Sun. Plus, you can charter the Ultra, Spectra, and True Line. There is always plenty of free parking and a fully stocked tackle store. Take advantage of the Wednesday specials on the Pursuit and Monte Carlo, and kids fish free with a paid adult on the afternoon half-day. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. Call 310-832-8304 or book online at 22ndstreet.com.
I like rafting. I love whitewater. But I never forget that snowmelt in the river can cause cold water shock. I wear a life jacket always. Anyone with me has got to do the same. Save the ones you love. A message from California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
This is Captain Art Taylor. I'd like to invite you aboard Searcher for your next fishing vacation. Enjoy our air-conditioned cabins and galley, new improved bait tank, RSW system to preserve your catch, delicious food prepared by chefs Charlie and Dan, and a fantastic crew. Our 2017 schedule is available now. Book your reservation online at searchersportfishing.com or call Celia at 619-226-2403. That's 619-226-2403.
Fifth Avenue Insurance has a new name. It's Snap Insurance, still providing anglers and boaters with the best in boat insurance and the lowest rates. The experts at Snap Insurance will make sure your boat and property are covered right. Traveling to Mexico? Snap has you covered. You can even work with your agent to wrap your home and auto with your boat policy to save even more. Call them for advice on your current boat policy or any of your insurance needs. Snap Insurance, 800-527-6617 or snapins.com. That's SNAPPINS.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Phones are getting packed up again, as we said. Only line open now, 858-457-1090. Your chance to talk to the guru of bait, tackle, the whole nine, Captain Mark Wisch of Pacific Edge. Let's jump right back into the phones. This time we're going to talk to Odie, calling us from Crestline this morning. Good morning, Odie. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Yes, good morning, guys.
Hi, Odie.
I have a question for Mark Wisch.
What's up?
Go ahead.
Okay, I know for a fact that if you're going to be fishing on the surf, you want to maybe go the day before and just check during the low tide and see exactly where the deep spots are in the sand. Is that correct?
Well, you don't. With a little bit of, training your eye, you don't have to go the day before. You can just go down to the beach and recognize where those troughs are, because the waves are going to break out a little deeper where there's an outside sandbar, and then they're going to reform. It'll like a clear, deeper-looking spot, and it'll break a little bit on the beach. So, if you just stop and look at the surf, especially if you can get up a little higher, just take a look at it, and you want to fish in those areas where the troughs are, not where the waves run equally all the way into the beach. So,
okay.
If you do get a chance to go look at it at low tide, obviously it's helpful, but, you can't always do that.
And the reason why I'm asking that question, because I haven't ever caught a halibut the right size. And my question is, you talk about the waves breaking. When you cast your line out, exactly what, the part of the wave do you look for? The breaking of the wave or...
Well, again, we're trying to fish in those troughs where there's a lot less wave action. The waves will break on the outer bar.
Right.
You're fishing in that little trough that doesn't have a whole lot of wave action. And if you just take a little time one day, drive up and down the beach and look at the different pieces of the beach and look at the way the waves break, you'll see noticeable differences between where the waves wash all the way in evenly. You'll see the even white water versus where they break out farther and then it gets deep and less white water, and then they'll break a little bit right on the beach. And that's the areas where you want to be fishing, is in those troughs. And in terms of fishing halibut in there, you want to be kind of casting a little parallel to the beach, so you're fishing along the trough, not across the trough, and fishing with the minnow lures or something like a crocodile. That's a great way to catch a halibut from the surf, or a grunion. And there's some really good ones to be caught. So good luck to you on that.
Cover a ton of ground with jigs like that.
Yep.
And not a much cooler thing than to be able to pull legal halibut out of the surf zone.
Yeah,
That's cool.
we're in the Huntington Beach area, and the guys fishing along Sunset there, they're getting some good ones. And right there, that new inlet that's right there by Sea Point Drive at high tide exactly, not when the water's going in or going out, but just high slack water in that inlet by Sea Point. That's the home of the halibut.
Really?
Big
letting
ones
it out.
in there.
That's awesome,
There's
Mark.
some big ones in there.
Odie, appreciate the phone call very much. I hope that helps. Next up, let's talk to Mike. He's calling us from Point Loma this morning. Good morning, Mike. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. Yo, Mike. All right, looks like
Mike.
Yeah, looks like we might have lost Mike there, but hopefully he can jump back in. So we're going to talk to Doug. Doug calling us from Montebello this morning. Doug, thanks for hanging in there with us.
Yeah, I got two questions here for Mark. With these big cow tuna, suppose it's too big to put on your boat. How do you get it back to the boat, get it back to the dock, and how much extra fuel would be burning up in that process?
Well, the fuel thing is going to be dependent on your particular boat, so it's kind of tough to comment on that. But assuming you get it in the boat, you're adding some weight, so it'd be like one or two other fat guys depending. But I saw a report yesterday that supposedly one of those seiners got a 470-pound bluefin.
What?
In a set, yeah. And I was driving down here, I was thinking, how in the world would we go about, because the transom door on my buddy's boat, even a 200-pounder is going to be a tight fit. A 470, man, without a gin pole or a big crew, I think you'd have to lash that one alongside.
And is that what you? I mean, what else are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Tie it up and drive it home.
That'd be a good problem to have. I'll be looking forward to figuring it out.
Champagne problems there, man. I like it.
Yeah,
that's
for
awesome.
Sure.
Doug brings up a very good point about fuel, and it's definitely something that we on our 25 Parker we hold a lot of fuel, but we're fishing that Yummy Flyer. And we operate at probably the single most inefficient speed we could ever do in terms of burning fuel. It's no problem for us to run out to San Clemente and fish and back. No problem. Done it plenty of times. But when you are talking about making that run all the way to San Clemente and then spending hours at the most inefficient time, like we're starting to, we're still comfortable to do it, but that's definitely the extent of it on a boat like ours. We wouldn't want to burn too much more fuel than that, and it's something to consider that it's not like driving out somewhere and putting the anchor down and then driving home. You're
no fuel dock at Clemente. You guys got a plan for that, and seriously, what Ricky's suggesting there is, it's not like running over to Pyramid, put the anchor down, fish bass all day, and then run back. You've done that a bunch of times. You think you got plenty of fuel. Well, you want to go out, fish the bluefin. They're several miles down below the island, and you're out there in the weather where you're using more fuel. And if you're at that yummy speed, which is somewhere between 6 and 10 knots, depending on what you're doing, for a lot of boats, small boats especially, that's a horrible speed.
Yeah.
You got to figure all that in, because getting out there is one thing, getting back's quite another. So. Make sure you got your vessel assist paid up.
Oh boy, you're not kidding. I have a great buddy with a very good boat. He's got a Farallon. He's a great boat guy, great mechanic, very good at those things. But things happen, and they did.
Yeah.
And he's a vessel assist member. Had to get towed in from San Clemente Island. We were just BSing in the shop the other day. He got a little wrap up in the mail from Vessel Assist after being done. Obviously, he's a member, so it cost him nothing. But the amount of his tow, had he not been a member, was $5,700. Basically, $6,000 is what it would have cost him. You can't go offshore without having a sea tow, a vessel assist, a membership of some kind. You have to.
You got to have all that stuff, and you got to have your fishing licenses, and you got to know where all the MLPAs are. There's stuff to know, guys. Stuff.
Now, that brings up a great point about fishing and fuel and that Yummy Flyer, and you mentioned the speed, and it's not, I think that for guys that are trying to figure it out and maybe haven't done a ton of research, I mean, I've trolled for tuna a bunch of times. You go, you're 5 or 6 knots, and you put your albacore feathers out, and you wait for one to climb on. But that fishing with this flyer, it definitely requires, or it can be benefited at least at times by some more speed than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it's dictated by what the actual wind is doing in terms of being able to fly the kite. Whether you're going upwind or going crosswise or trying to go downwind, you got to figure it all out. But the bluefin, and I'm no expert at this, trust me, you should comment on this more than I, but the key is like skip and then a long fly, not just having that bait plowing along, because the vast majority of those bites seem to come while the flyer's in the air.
Yeah,
I mean, they catch it. You just watch the videos of them chasing live flying fish in the real world, and they catch them midair often.
Yes.
So the more you're duplicating that. And the downside, see, I had a nice customer in the store yesterday, bought a bunch of stuff. He's going to go out and try this for the first time. He's going to drive the boat. He's going to have I hope he's not listening. He's going to have his 21-year-old millennial-type son watching the thing. And it's a huge amount of work to do this.
Yes.
You got to have your eyes on it constantly, because the wind picks up. All of a sudden, your flyer's up out of the water.
Yes.
Wind backs off a little bit, or you change course, turn downwind a little bit. All of a sudden, now you're just plowing. So for the guy watching the rod, it's up a little, down a little, in a little, out a little. It's constant work to get it flying to be doing what seems to be working the best.
Right.
Because there's a handful of guys that catch them the most, and they're all working really, really hard at it.
We always say you get as much out of it as you put into it. And if if you got a guy that's constantly on the rod, making adjustments, like you say, dropping it back, winding it back in, if you can't find the appropriate speed to make it, skip and fly like that. Sometimes you need to create that, via with the reel handle and dropping it back out of gear and constantly adjusting, and wind gusts change things and directions change things. And the more effort that you put into it, for sure, the more bites you get out of it. And even it just comes to watching for the bites. It's not.
That's the other part of it. At least when you're watching that flyer, you get to see the bite.
It's not like
it's pretty cool.
It's not like dragging a cedar plug where as soon as you get a bite, the clicker's going off. That's not the case. You've got hundreds of yards of line that are up in the air and out away from the boat, and you can. When you realize the bite has happened, and there's been this year, which seems to be different than the last, is there is a lot more fish that blow up or try to eat the flyer than successfully get it. Last year, it was so many. You see a splash, your streamer's going down, you got them, and there is just story after story of it got blown up on 5 times before he finally got it. And, watching and recognizing when, the streamer goes down, or if you're not fishing a streamer, that, okay, indeed, he's got it. And then maybe using the boat to aid in getting some of the slack out of the line. You got your guy on the reel cranking as fast as he can to come tight. All of those things are important steps to it for sure.
What a fascinating fishery has been dumped in our laps.
Totally.
Catching pretty much everybody by surprise, unless you were dealing with the long-range boats, fishing the big yellowfin. This is all new to us, even though kite fishing for bluefin was invented right here 100 years ago.
And that's what's so cool about it.
Yeah,
we're doing a modified version of how it started.
And when you look at some of those old pictures of George Farnsworth, who's the guy, and he was a stealthy guy, man. He was my kind of guy. He invented kite fishing for skipping flying fish for bluefin tuna, and he's doing it like 50 feet off the back of the boat. It's not like he's out there 200 yards.
It's cool, man. It's great that we're getting this opportunity. And you said it earlier in the show, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's cool to see how quickly we adapted to this technique. It's something that just kind of started, and boom, it's out there and up and going, and kites are flying, and gear's getting rigged, and it's always getting pushed, different ways of rigging the flyer and different ways of attaching the hooks and how you skip it in speed, and it's been a pretty fun fishery to get to be a part of.
And you mentioned kites are flying. Guys, when you're doing this, you're not only paying attention to what you're doing and what your kite is doing and your flyer is doing, you got to be paying attention to everybody around you, because their kites are all 200 yards away from them also. And
amen.
Man, there's been some great stories.
It's pretty wild. Hey, when we come back, we got another full hour of Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. We got catch reports, we got phone calls, and a lot more with the guru, Mark Wisch. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
I got my line in the water. Follow the rest.
This is Chelsea from Dana Landing, and Mission Landing has you covered with the Blackjack. Perfect up to 4 anglers, or the Impulse up to 6 anglers in comfort and style. Dana Landing has a huge tackle shop with everything you need to go fish bay bass, tuna, or marlin, and our staff will dial you in. We even have Mexican and California fishing licenses and reel repair. Our deli at Dana Landing is a local's favorite with all the food, ice, and beverages you need. Hey, need freshwater tackle? Head to East County Bait and Tackle, the ultimate in rods and reels, the latest freshwater lures and live bait. ECBT has a staff second to none when it comes to sharing their passion for fishing. ECBT is at the end of the 67 freeway on Mapleview and Lakeside, and Dana Landing is next to the Dana Launch Ramp in Mission Bay. Check out danalanding.com for more details.
It's Yamaha's Power the Summer sales event. For a limited time, eligible new 90 to 300 horsepower 4-strokes include 2 free years of Yamaha extended service. And eligible new 2.5 to 75 horsepower 4-strokes include up to $500 in dealer credit. Reliability starts here. Yamaha. Offer ends August 31st, 2017. Subject to change at any time. Other restrictions and conditions apply. Select models excluded. See authorized participating Yamaha outboard dealers for details. This promotion cannot be used with any other Yamaha offer.
Great boats, free parking, and a fully stocked tackle shop. Just a few of the reasons Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top charter boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Eclipse, Apollo, Outer Limits, Pacific Star, El Gato Dos, Alexis, Pride, Privateer, Tribute, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth Sea Watch in San Diego offer the finest half, 3/4, and full-day trips available. Check out the full-service tackle store at Seaforth Sport Fishing. And it's all run by fishermen for fishermen. 1717 Quivira Road, just off Mission Bay Drive in Mission Bay. Book online at seaforthlanding.com.
XEPRS 1090 AM, Rosarito, Baja California.
San Diego's sports leader.
The home of ESPN Radio.
The mighty 1090.
Alaska is one of the ultimate fishing destinations in the world. This is Rock Cod Rick, and every year the one trip I look forward to is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. My dad and I have been going for over 15 years, and I just can't wait to go again. No one does it better than Kingfisher Charters. They offer the best service, the most comfortable accommodations, fantastic food, the finest fishing charter captains in all of Sitka, and the ultimate value. Sure, I've been to others, but time and time again, nobody beats Kingfisher Charters. You can catch huge halibut like the ones we do almost every year, and salmon, well, Sitka is famous for some of the best runs in Alaska. We also get plenty of rockfish and huge lingcod. And when it comes to fish processing, the best in Alaska is Kingfisher Charters. And listen to this, it's all included in your package. In fact, everything is included except the tips. It's truly amazing how the Kingfisher crew continues the quality of service they deliver year after year. Come and join me on the Let's Talk Hookup trip in June, or just go when you can. Kingfisher Charters, 800-727-6136, or check kingfishercharters.com. Everyone likes special treatment, kind of feel like a VIP. Well, that's how our listeners are treated at Poway Valley Collision. I have personally heard of several stories of how well our friends Jim and Mary take care of their customers that we sent them. Poway Valley Collision is worth the drive from anywhere in the Southland. We know you may not need them today, but when accidents happen, it pays to go to Poway Valley Collision. And listen to this, our listeners get a special discount that can save you hundreds of dollars on your car or truck repair. Just tell them you listen to the show and you get the deal. They work with most insurance companies, including Auto Club, MetLife, Wawanesa, and more. Just bring your car or truck to them and let Poway Valley Collision do the rest. I have had my truck repaired at Poway Valley Collision and the job was perfect. So get your vehicle fixed right at Poway Valley Collision. Tell them you listen to Let's Talk Hookup and they'll save you money on your repair. Poway Valley Collision, 14211 Garden Road in Poway. Check PowayValleyCollision.com.
The bluefin are abundant this year, but getting them to bite is another story. But if you're willing to chase them, there's an opportunity to land the catch of a lifetime. Now, getting the deal of a lifetime on a new Ford is much less effort because the gigantic summer sales event is going on now at your San Diego County Ford dealer. Choose from a great selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs and save big on interest charges with 0 APR long-term financing. On top of that, your Ford dealer will give you an additional bonus for your qualified trade. This special offer is available to anyone who gets approved through Ford Motor Credit. You'll also find great deals on new Ford Super Duty, Motor Trend Magazine's 2017 Truck of the Year. So why chase deals all over town when you can land the deal of a lifetime on the new Ford, car, truck, or SUV you've always wanted during the Ford Summer Sales Event? Stop by any San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up. Learn more at buyfordnow.com.